Hello and welcome back, and now we are going to the governmental institutions. We start with the Central Bank of Swordland. The Central Bank of Swordland is a financial institution of Swordland, tasked with regulating the macroeconomy by having control over policy instruments to use in achieving price stability for the Swordish Wren. It holds a large sum of foreign money reserves and a semi-independent organization located in both Lochevin and Holsword. The current chairwoman of the central bank is Edith Agnock. In the last 8 years, the central bank has spent a lot of effort in curbing the effects of the damaging recession and has managed to stabilize the rate of economic loss to minus 2% of GDP. For her successful crisis management, Edith Agnock has been praised globally. Gardemir. The Gardemir of the Republic of Swordland is an armed law enforcement organization which maintains security, safety, and public order in rural regions of Swordland and executes the duties ascribed to it by other laws. The Gendarmerie General Command is subordinate to Minister of Defense. The Grand Army organization, which was established in 1899, has survived until today. After the Republic was proclaimed, the Grand Army stations began to serve people in the most remote parts of the country, in addition to carrying out security and public order duties. During Sol's term as president, most people began to identify Grand Army with the state itself. Grand National Assembly of Swordland, usually referred to simply as the Assembly, is the in-camera Swordish legislator. It is the sole body given the legislative prerogatives of the Swordish Constitution. It was founded in Holsword on September 9, 1923, in the midst of the September Revolution. The Parliament was fundamental to the efforts of President Arthur S. Whiskey and his colleagues to found a new state out of the remnants of the Kingdom of Swordland. It is currently led by a Speaker of Assembly, Gloria Tory, who also represents the Conservatives within the United Swordland Party. National Business Council is the official government structure that includes most of the leading business leaders of Swordland. They are participating in cooperation with government on improving the economic prospects. Many details include state projects, incentives, taxes, unemployment, and the future of the country are discussed here. It is led by McCall Avon, representing the private sector, and Simon Hull, representing the state sector. This council gathers when deemed necessary by the majority of its members of the two leaders. Swordish Armed Forces are the military of the Republic of Swordland. With its headquarters in Holsword, SAF consists of the General Staff, the Land Forces, the Naval Forces, and the Air Forces. The current Chief of the General Staff and the Chief of the Armed Forces is General Velken Kruger. In wartime, the Chief of the General Staff may act as Commander-in-Chief on behalf of the President. The General Staff also holds the authority to reject a President's candidate for the position of Minister of Defense, and may appoint its own candidate when they deem it necessary. The Swordish military perceives itself as the guardian of Solism, the official ideology of the Second Republic era of the Republic of Swordland. The Swordish Armed Forces is the fifth largest standing military force in eastern Mokopa, after the Burgundian Armed Forces. Currently, the military is a conscripted force. Males serve in the military upon reaching age 18. Swordish Police Force is headed by Karl Grieser. The force has extensive rights, and some argue more than most countries surrounding Swordland, with the exception of Rumburg. These rights were given through the security package laws of Turk and Sol. The police are tasked with enforcing law in the country. They establish security, civil order, and peace. As one of the old institutions in the country, dating back to the Wren aristocracy, a large section of society still heavily respects the force. Internally, it is structured as a regional level, which are tied to the Ministry of Interior, led by Liesier Graf. The Supreme Court of Swordland is the highest legal body for constitutional and judicial review. It examines the constitutionality in respect of both form and substance of laws and decrees having the force of law, and the rules of procedure of the Grand National Assembly. If necessary, it also functions as a Supreme Criminal Court to hear any cases raised about the President of Swordland, members of the Cabinet, or Presidents and members of the High Courts. The Justices of the Supreme Court may hold their office during behavior. The Supreme Court has the right to review enactments both before and after review, and it can evaluate whole laws or government decrees and prevent their application in future cases. The Supreme Court also functions as the second legislative body when proposed All to change the Constitution of Swordland passes the Grand National Assembly of Swordland, giving them the final vote on constitutional changes. It is currently led by the Chief Justice, Orso Hawker, who was elected with the majority of 7-4 in 1937. Special Zone of Bergia. The Special Zone of Bergia is a special administrative region in Swordland, covering the entirety of the region of Bergia. The headquarters of the zone is at Deer, and it's governed by an appointed governor, a special administrative position that only exists in Bergia. The current governor is Felix Braun. Established during the critical era of President Turkensol's Emergency Security Program in 1935, the formation of the Special Zone was a direct response to the belligerence unleashed by notorious Dolan Arge and his declaration of war against the Swordish Republic. The zone was formed and structured specifically to counter the threat of British rebels and to ensure the suppression of secessionist aspiration, while adhering the overarching principles outlined in the Swordish construction. The Special Zone exercises a certain degree of autonomy in matters of internal security. This entails complete control over its allocated security budget and the establishment of a specialized security force known as the Bergian Security Force. Guided by its own sect of civil and security policies, the regional authority operates within the boundaries prescribed by the Constitution. Contrary to the other regions of Swordland, the Special Zone does not conduct local elections. Instead, the pivotal responsibility for regional governance resides solely in the hands of the governor, who is appointed by the president every 6 years. Intergovernment. The Alliance of Nations, AN, stands as an international entity formed in response to the extensive upheaval of the century of revolutions, conceived to enhance global cooperation, uphold international order, and cultivate peaceful interaction. The AN incorporates numerous autonomous nations. The core of the AN function lies in facilitating diplomatic discourse over issues of global import. Member states are encouraged to address their disputes peacefully using AN mechanisms. Notably, the AN has the capacity to issue special resolutions via supermajority vote. The diversity of its members has prevented its utilization so far. The structure of the AN highlights the existence of various power blocks, each with their own interests and perspectives. Notably, the blocks representing the Acacian Treaty Organization and the Cortanan Security Pact often find themselves at odds over key international issues. Their continuous relationship creates complex dynamic within the AN, requiring careful navigation and negotiation. In response to these dynamics, an ambiguous neutral faction of nations inside has formed, often caught between the ideological battle of the ATO and SCP blocks. These nations strive for a balanced approach within the AN, offering alternative viewpoints and providing a moderating influence on the major power blocks. There are a few dozen nations who are not members of the Alliance of Nations in the world. The Alliance of Nations, within its dedicated dialogue and cooperation, continues to significantly shape the global political landscape. Through collective effort, the AN aspires to create a world where nations collaborate to overcome shared challenges, fostering a shared pursuit of peace, security, and prosperity. The Acacian Treaty Organization, ATO, is an intergovernmental military economic alliance between the 14 countries, primarily led by Acacia. The alliance aims to bring all its members together in a united economic defense framework against CSP. With ATO's strategic military alliance heavily consists of countries with capitalist economic structures. Its aim is to counter the influence of United Cortana around the globe and protect the Mercopa from the expansion of socialism. Recently, the ATO has become increasingly focused on increasing the nuclear protection as the new military weapon has advanced enough to become part of warfare. The Cortatan Security Pact, CSP, is an intergovernmental military and economic alliance between 9 countries, led by United Cortana. This alliance creates an integrated defense strategy and military cohesion to defend against ATO. The CSP, at its core, is a strategic military alliance because it's mostly of countries that have planned economics and trade resources with United Cortana. The goal of the alliance is to counter the influence of capitalism by Acacia and to protect the continent of Cortana. The CSP has, in its past decades, moved to expand their influence in Mercopa and is focused on using allies like Vagsland to face the ATO. The Guide of Royal Allies for Commercial Exchange, GRACE, is an international organization founded to foster economic cooperation and exchange among monarchies from various continents, including Mercopa, Rika, Zika, Xena, Archipelago, Cortana, and others. By promoting trade, investments, and diplomatic relations among its member states, Greece has played a significant role in global economy and international relations. The Kingdom of Rumburg, one of the founding members, is among the prominent states of Greece, which also includes member states like the Kingdom of Rhesia, Baronies of Sordid, the Principalities, Nereburg, Holy Kingdom of Alricur, the Confederation of Venerism, and the Kingdom of Valspera. I'm so glad this one actually lists some nations that are in it. Like, the other one, it was like, there are 9 in ours. There's 9. They don't say what 9, there's 9. Like, come on, at least name some in, like, your description. You have room for that. Greece emerged in response to the transformative era in the century of revolutions, which saw a transition from absolute monarchies to representative governments with written constitutions and the creation of nation-states and socialist states. By uniting the remaining monarchies into cooperative networks, Greece has provided a platform for these nations to maintain their influence in the face of shifting political dynamics. Today, the organization continues to strengthen economic ties and diplomatic relations among its member states, serving as an important force in international affairs. Through its efforts, Greece aims to preserve the unique heritage of its member countries while promoting prosperity and stability in the global community. The Organization for Maricopan Economic Development, OMEC, is an intergovernmental economic organization founded in 1921 to stimulate economic progress and increase trade in Maricopa. It is a forum of countries describing themselves as committed to prosperity, providing a platform to compare policy experiences, seeking answers to problems, identify good practices, and coordinate international policies to its members. OMC uses its wealth of information on a broad range of topics to help governments foster prosperity and fight poverty through economic growth and financial stability. The structure is based on continued monitoring of events in member countries as well as outside the member area, and includes regular projections of short and medium-term economic developments. Watchtower of Human Rights, WHR, is an intergovernmental human rights organization made up of roughly 1,400 staff members around the globe. Established in 1918, Watchtower of Human Rights is known for fact-finding, impartial reporting, use of media, and targeted advocacy. Often in partnership with local human rights groups, each year, WHR publishes more than 40 reports and briefings on human rights conditions in some 26 countries, creating coverage in local and international media. With the leverage this brings, WHR meets with the governments, the Alliance of Nations, regional groups like the OMEC, and the United Peoples Pact to press for changes in policy and practice that promote human rights and justice around the world. Now we have miscellaneous organizations. FC Anrica is a Swedish professional football club based in Anrica that plays in the Swedish Superliga, the top tier in Swedish football. Founded in Maricopa, founded as Mersin Sport in 1905. The club changed the various names before settling on being called after its home city in 1923, FC Anrica. Since 1940, FC Anrica home ground has been the Marine Stadium, nicknamed the Hall of Martyrs, one of the largest stadiums in Swordlands and in all of eastern Maricopa. FC Anrica is known as the People's Club with a huge national support, particularly from the greater Hulsord region. The club has a long-standing rivalry with SC Gelsord. Its anthem is Eye to Eye, Tooth to Tooth. FC Anrica has been playing in the Swedish Superliga since the league's inception in 1944. They are only two teams who had managed to claim the league title, apart from FC Gelsord. FC Gelsord is a Swedish professional football club based in Gelsord that plays in a Swedish Superliga in the top tier in Swedish football. Founded in 1904, FC Gelsord has been the most successful club in Swordland. FC Gelsord plays at Artur Whiskey Arena, which opened as the Sol Arena in 1935 and was renamed in 1949. FC Gelsord has a huge national support, particularly from the Gelsland and Nergis regions. The club has a long-standing rivalry with FC Anrica. The anthem is FC Gelsord is the only way forward, which is derived from the city of Gelsord's official motto, Science the only way forward. Okay, that's kind of clever. FC Gelsord has been playing in the Swedish Superliga since the league's inception in 1944, winning almost all Superliga titles since. Holsword State University is a public research university located in Holsword, Swordland. It is the second oldest institution after the Marken Imperial University. The current rector is Sander Navik. The HSU has educated many notable alumni, including the Speaker of Assembly, Gloria Torrey, the famous political scientist Herman Equa, Justice of the Supreme Court, Isabel Edmonds, as of 1954, 7 Renan Lurkat, 6 Avon Medal winners, and 1 Maricopa Science Award winner have affiliated with the university. Alumni of HSU have established strong, respectable positions in legal, technological, and literacy hubs of the world. The HSU is generally accepted as one of the leading higher education institutions in eastern Maricopa. Coronelli's Cartel. One of the most notorious criminal organizations in Swordland is the Coronelli Cartel. Its roots are dating back to the late 1880s and have started with bootleggings during the Kingdom period. Their operations are mainly focused around Nargis and England. For decades, the Swordfish Police Force has been fighting the organization with dedication, but the result only helped keep its operations at bay. Their headquarters are expected to be in Estord, and their primary focus is legal drug and organ trafficking. Organ trafficking is just disgusting to me. It's just, The Lothenberg Group is a private non-government organization which assesses the economic conditions of Swordland and the globe. Currently, the spokesman of the organization is Walker Tusk, who was elected by a majority vote. Officially, Lothenberg has a vague structure and limited leadership roles, but the spokesman is considered to be de facto leader of the entity. The group convenes every 3 months at Hotel Berg in the village of Lother. The meetings are held in secret, but it is reported that topics like the economy, security, and international politics are discussed in detail. Most of its members are unknown, but comprises of the richest of Swordish society, except for the speaker, Walter Tusk, who acts as the public-facing official spokesperson. Due to the influential nature of the organization and the privacy of their affairs in the eyes of the public, theories have sprung up that the future of Eastern Maricopa is decided at these conferences. Magnus Cardus is a young NGO formed in Alfonso's period. It aims to make Swordland a more democratic nation by introducing a new Charter of Rights. It supports Magna Carta. This is literally just the Magna Carta, the thing that they forced the king to sign. English king. I don't know the name, but really? That's so spot on. That's more spot on like anything else I've seen in this game. Like, real. Anyways, it supports humanistic ideals and organizes peaceful conferences and protests. Some of the donors are from Acacia, but overall the founders are seen as peaceful citizens who have a good moral standard. In the last decade, MC got attention through a whistleblower inside the USP who leaked damaging documents about Turkin Soul. This has caused many to treat them as traitors of the state, because they found legitimate info. Okay, sure, what? People are dumb. The founder denies allegations of being a traitor, explaining that being a vocal citizen fighting for the well-being of the country has nothing to do with betraying the nation. Yeah, getting information about a person is important. Like, oh, they did something bad, we should probably tell people, you're a traitor. What? Okay. The infamous Skinner Cartel has received its name from their old members of methods of skinning their enemies alive. They are mostly operating in the Bergia and Nargis region and have indulged in black market arms trade since the 1910s. The Skinners haven't been getting along well with the Coronelli Cartel due to a conflict of interest in their criminal network. However, when it comes to avoiding the police, both cooperate whenever they can to survive the day. The Economist is a newspaper primarily focused on the financial developments around the world, with political analysis related to those subjects. Founded in 1888, is primarily a newspaper read by those interested in the business world. The newspaper has been criticized for being a proponent of capitalism in Swordland, but in response has declared that each piece written is a different editor, and have shown data proving that they have different opinions. The newspaper has many old economists from the Whiskey era, as well as new editors from the Alfonso era, who were the supporters of the privatization programs. The Radical is one of the most critical and anti-establishment newspapers in Swordland. Many of the previous journalists have the newspaper from the newspaper have been arrested in the Seoul period. People who are critical of the government and the recent events tend to flock to the newspaper. Founded after the toppling of the first president of the Republic of Swordland, its motto has always been critical thinking. Their unchecked voice was mostly not welcomed by government officials, who often tried to silence the newspaper, but still has not managed to do so. The radical wants radical change in Swordland, and they are not afraid to voice their opinions. Hopefully I can at least make them somewhat happy with decisions I'll make. The Alfonso Foundation is a non-profit organization founded in 1953 by Edward Alfonso, the third president of Swordland. After stepping away from politics, Alfonso redirected his focus towards charitable pursuits, channeling his resources to establish this organization. The foundation primarily focuses on addressing homelessness and mitigating income inequality. It adopts a comprehensive approach in combating homelessness by not only providing immediate aid, but also working towards long-term solutions such as affordable housing and employment programs. The Foundation's initiatives related to income inequality involve efforts to promote fair wages, improve access to education, support policies that favor economic balance. Sounds good. Can I work with them? But we only got a little bit left. I believe this is a good time to end this episode because we'll be able to read both of these in like 8 minutes, but I think the next one will be the last of these reading the Codex episodes, so woo, celebrate guys, we're almost done. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button, and as always, peace.